What's up, YouTube family? Welcome to Automotive Life. My name is Lucky, and today's video we're going to be talking about flipping cars for a profit. Now, as you guys know, the used car market is absolutely insane right now. Prices are going up and down. We don't know where the market's going. So we're going to go over some of the strategies that we're currently using now to get cars, buy cars, and sell cars. So whether you're a car flipper, you own a dealership, or you're looking to do some sort of a side hustle, all these things will definitely benefit you if you put them in your repertoire and actually build your system. Now, we always talk about building a system, and a lot of people don't really understand what I'm talking about. So we're going to go ahead and revisit that today because we have made videos in the past, but I want to show you on why building a system is so important, especially when it comes to today where it's very hard to find cheap cars. So every time I make some of these videos, people are like, how do you get cars that cheap? Where are you getting them from? It's all the system that I built. And I'm going to be honest with you, none of this happens overnight. It's going to take time, it's going to take dedication, but it pays massive dividends in the end if you do it correctly. Now, before I get into the video, if you could please do me a huge favor and gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps me find more amazing people like yourselves that enjoy automotive content. Also, please consider subscribing. We are posting epic stuff like this 3 times a week, so make sure you click the notification bell. And once again, follow us on Instagram at automotive.life. We post great stuff there all the time. A lot of times when we go out buying cars, I post all the funny stuff we get from when we're selling cars to people, dealers, everything else. It's pretty hilarious. We're way more popular on Instagram than we are on YouTube, so make sure you follow us there. And without any more shameless plugging, let's get into the video. So before I get into the video, I want to do another giveaway. A lot of people loved me giving out consulting calls, so we're going to give out one for this video as well as my car reveal video, which is coming tomorrow. So make sure all you got to do to qualify is just put a comment in the section below. I don't care if you want to ask me about cars, your business, you want to tell me a joke, toast, I buy that for $1. Doesn't matter. All you gotta do is put something in the comment section below. You qualify for it. So we're gonna take all the entries from this video and Friday's video and announce the winner on Monday. So make sure you do that. And let's go ahead and get into the video. Now, as you guys know, the used car market is absolutely insane right now. Dealers are paying more at auction than ever before. People are struggling to find cheap, affordable cars. And so this is why I always build a network to help sustain my, my car flow, how I get cars into my business and how I sell them. Now, as of right now, we're not doing it full time. We're mostly doing wholesaling and just kind of having fun back and forth. But we have more than enough cars to sustain us. If I decided, like currently right now, we're thinking about filing for our dealer's license and moving forward with that. If I wanted to get back into opening up a full-size dealership, I can. But it's all because I built a network of people where I get cars from. Now, I started doing this several years ago, and I'll kind of tell you the concept of why I did it, why you should do it, and how it's going to benefit you in the long run. So as you guys know, being a dealer, you always have a hard time during tax season buying cheap, affordable cars, and that's when they all fly off the shelf. So what I started doing years ago was I started during around Christmas time, right about now. I would November and December, any car that ran and drove that was like $3,000 and below, I bought every single one off of Facebook, Craigslist, OfferUp. I bought everything, literally anything that ran and drove for that much money, and I would sit on it. So I would have $100,000, $200,000 sitting there, and I would wait till around maybe the 3rd week of February, and then I would take all those cars to the auction. Now, all of a sudden, magically, we literally doubled, if not tripled, our initial investment on most of these cars because there was the hype. People were selling cars, people had their tax money, and they were just flying out the shelf. Now, this worked really well for a number of years, but it got insane these last few years because people don't have the money for really expensive cars, so cash cars were king. So all of a sudden, we thought that demand would slip because taxes have been going down and down. If you talk to anybody in the car business, like 5 years ago, tax season was great. Every year, it just keeps getting worse and worse and worse, less sales and less sales. But these last 2 years, when it came to cash cars, or actually these last 3 years, when it came to cash cars, it's just been absolutely insane. We could put 50 on our lot, 1 month, all gone. So we always had a struggle trying to keep that up. So that's why I built this particular system is, well, if I can keep these cheap cash cars coming in at all times, how will that benefit my business? How will I be able to outsell my competitors and how I can get that competitive edge when it comes to selling cars? Because in a dealership world, you can make money with, retail and getting some other things, but little by little, a lot of people are getting smarter now. They're not getting themselves in debt. They're keeping the overhead low. So they're deciding on buying cheap cash cars. Also, people that have like really bad credit and very low down payments, you're going to need those $5,000 below cars to finance them, as well as setting yourself up for buy here, pay here. but I would always sell more that I could buy. And that's the problem that every single dealer's had across the United States. And it's an even bigger problem now because everybody wants an arm and a leg for vehicles. So that's why I set up my system where I actually started chasing people down and building a network where I can get cars. Now, like I said earlier in the video, it is not easy. It's going to take time. So I'm going to discuss on what I do to build my system so this way it can work for you. And there's a lot of things we can do. So the first one we're going to do is you want to figure out what your strengths are. Now, if you're good at sales and marketing, then we want to build that around there. So what I usually tell people is I have a calendar. It's about the size of probably the bookshelf behind me. We start setting up every single thing we possibly can to market to people. So I do what's called cash for car ads. I get on Facebook, I get on Instagram, I get on the Nifty Nickel if you guys have that in your area, the recycler, anywhere where you could actually post, a few bucks and put an ad. We buy cash cars, we buy junk cars, blah, blah, blah. And then also you could test it in your area. You could say, I buy junk cars, I buy cars, are you upside down in your car? Do you want to trade in your car? We're looking for trucks. You can make different ads specific for what you're looking for. I have dealers in Texas that all they sell is trucks, so they have ads. Do you have a new truck, old truck? All we buy is trucks. You could specialize in that and build your social media where this way every morning when you're waking up, you're getting calls, texts, emails. And before you guys say, oh, well, they're just going to want a bunch of money for overpriced dog crap. Unfortunately, yes, there are a lot of people when you go to buy these cars, they're going to want so much money, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to be obscene. It's not worth your time. But all you need is that one for the day where they're like, hey, look, I just need to get it out of my yard. HOA's on my ass, or maybe I'm buying a house. I need to get this off my credit. Whatever the case is, you need to be there right then and there to buy that car. So that's the fastest and easiest way to start building one of the systems of your network. Another one we talked about is if you're a dealer or wholesaler, we start going up to every payday loan store, every pawn shop, every title loan store, local small banks. You have to stop by literally, I'm telling you, 3 times a month with donuts and a card. Hi, my name is Lucky from, whatever auto sales. I'm a wholesaler. I buy vehicles. Let me know if you guys have anything. Is there anything I can look at now? No, you guys don't have anything. You're not interested? No problem. Well, here's some donuts. Thank you so much for your time. And I keep coming back and back and back. So as I started building my network, I have multiple pawn shops, I have multiple title loan stores, and I have multiple small independent banks that sell me the repos. Now, these don't come in every single day, but as you build your network, which we're going to keep talking about further down, you're going to start getting messages every single day. Like, I literally hardly go out searching for cars. I get emails every day, texts, calls. Hey, I got this guy, he just repoed this boat. Yeah, I'll go look at it. I don't buy boats, I'm not in the boat business, but if there's $1 to be made, we could fix it, flip it, and take it to the auction, we're gonna do it. So whatever the case is, we wanna make sure you're ready. So after you start building those networks and you start getting in cars, before you go to the next phase where we're adding more people, you wanna assess what you have. So you don't wanna go out buying cars unless you have a yard and a shop. Now the reason is you can flip cars, maybe 1 or 2 in your garage, or if you live in an apartment complex, you can kind of flip them in your driveway, but you don't want to get any of your stuff towed away. You need to assess how many cars you could fit in your particular area and what kind of capital you have. Because you're going to need, maybe let's say if you're flipping cars, put $10,000, $20,000 aside for just buying cars and another $5,000 to $10,000 aside for actually fixing these so-called cars to make them retail ready. Now, as you build your system, you're going to learn different things. You also want to find out if you can get a good mobile mechanic. So this way that as you're buying cars, you can either hurry up, fix them up, and flip them, or you could actually, just sell them wholesale to somebody else and let them deal with it. So if you have a good few mobile mechanics, you could always offer it to them for a few dollars more. Hey, look, I bought a car with a head gasket. I'm into it, $800. Give me $1,000, you can have it. And sometimes they will because they have the knowledge and expertise where they could fix it. So even though you're not making rich, you're not breaking the bank, you're just moving a car that you weren't going to move and you didn't have the capital to fix. So, you could start building that network. So start getting multiple mobile mechanics, talk to some automotive repair shops and see what they have there. Now, as you kind of build your network, you're going to say, okay, well, I have my payday loan stores, I have my pawn shops, and I have this. Now, if you're a regular person, sometimes you can't buy from these individuals. So there are other avenues you can go to. So we talked about it before on this channel, where a really good one is tow yard auctions. We used to go to them all the time. I still go every once in a while, where we'll go buy a handful of vehicles at a time. And so tow yard auctions are public auctions. If you don't know any of them, all you gotta do is just pull out your phone book or get online, just put tow company in whatever, Las Vegas. They will give you a list of every single one. You take your calendar, you call every single one. Hey, when's your next auction? Yours every Thursday? Put it on your calendar. When's your next one? Every Wednesday. And you fill up your calendar with all these tow yard auction dates. Now, the first few tow yards, you never buy your first time. You just look. Watch and see how people are bidding, see how the cars are going, because some tow yards you could buy and you could try them out, you could test them, you could start them up. Other tow yards, you can't touch them. You just have to, hopefully they run and drive and everything looks good, and you just got to cross your fingers. So never buy your first few times at a public auction, because there are some scary things that you're going to run into. So that's where you can go for the public. Another one is just general public auctions. There are a lot of charities like Catholic Charities, Veterans Village, some of the VAs, they all have these public auctions where people donate their cars and they're allowed to sell them to the public, so anybody's allowed to go. So you can also check in your local area if there's any public auctions. Now, I'm going to tell you this. When you go to public auctions, it's much, much harder to get a deal because there's not educated people there. So what I mean by educated is dealer educated, like automotive business educated. You know, there are people there, they're going to just overpay for everything. So they think since they're getting it at the auction, they're getting a good deal. So you'll see cars go for more than retail at auction than compared to, you know, like something on Facebook. And we see it all the time. We were just making jokes in the comment section below where we went to a public auction and there was like this Mini, had a check engine light. We already knew what it was a timing thing. We could do it in like, you know, a matter of hours. So like, we'll just buy it, fix it, and then take it back to the auction with the smog and sell it for more money. And those things retail with a clean title and smog for about $3,500. So we figured buy it for $1,000, flip it. That thing went for $5,500 at the auction. Some idiot saw it, fell in love with it, and just started bidding it up. And then on top of that, like I said, you are going to be dealing with regular people. So dealers, if we can, we'll bid up $100 at a time or $50 at a time. We don't want to waste our money. You'll get these knuckleheads at public auctions where somebody will be like, hey, I'll bid 1,000. Some guy will jump in, I'll pay two. So all of a sudden it jumps up, you know, $2,000 or $1,000. This guy his limit could have been $1,100, but this moron just bid $2,000, so now it shot up to $2,000. So we don't know what could have happened in between that $900 spend if he could have bought it for maybe $1,200 or $1,300. But that's what happens in public auctions. A lot of ego, a lot of inexperience, and so it gets themselves in trouble. But that's a good way where you could build your network, is getting the public auctions. Now on the flip side, you know, we go to every pretty much automotive repair shop, which you can do this as a regular person. You don't have to be a business. And you also go to every single body shop. Most shops have cars where customers can't afford the repairs. They're either upside down in their car, or they just can't afford the actual physical repair of the vehicle. Like if the head gasket's $1,000 and the car's worth maybe $3,000, they're like, well, I don't want to mess with it. That's where you come in. You come in, same thing, your box of donuts. Because I tell everybody, you got to bring donuts, because they're never going to remember you unless you bring donuts. Bring donuts, bring your cards. Hey, my name is Bob. I buy cars. Let me know anytime you have a mechanic's lien, one of your customers are out of a car, whatever else, and just keep going back. Now, as I start doing this, like I said, we do it to every mechanic shop in your area. You do it to every body shop, because mechanic shops and body shops can lien cars, and they always get customers where they'll spend the insurance check in body shops, but they won't have the money to fix the car. So you can tell them, hey, I'll buy the car wrecked as is, and as you get better and start learning these things, you can go ahead and flip it around. Now, after you've got those things, now you have the network of cars where you can bring them in. My network doesn't only consist of cars where I bring in, but it's also where I can sell cars out of. So we have basically the one that funnels in our leads and brings us cars, and then I have the other part of our network where I basically know where to get rid of cars. So I tell everybody, every area and every network is going to have something different. So I have a guy here in Las Vegas that buys anything that's a 4x4 truck. Doesn't care what it is. All he does, he takes it up to Minnesota and a few other Midwest states, because a $2,000 a clean, non-rusted truck here is like a $5,000 or $6,000 rusted truck up there. So anytime I get a decent truck that I don't want to mess with, that I can make a quick profit on, sometimes I'll call him. I'm like, hey, look, it's got a check engine light in Vegas. We got to fix it because of smog. He's got some small Midwest states where they don't care. As long as it doesn't have rust, they'll buy it in 2 seconds. So I'll sell it to him, make a quick $500-600 and move on to my next car. I have other people that specialize in Japanese cars. If I get any Hondas, Toyotas, stuff like that, they absolutely love these cars, so I usually just sell it to them. I have guys that only buy Priuses. I have guys that buy certain cars for catalytic converters. Sometimes I'll buy cars for $200-300. I'll sell the cats for $300-400, take the rest of scrap to the junkyard for maybe another $100-200, and I'll actually double my money just by parting out the car. But this is how you start to build your network on what you're going to be able to do and how you're going to be able to work it. Plus, you know, I trade a lot of my cars too. A lot of dealers I notice don't do this, where I'll take, you know, somebody, let's say they have a project, a classic car. I'll say, hey man, look, I got 2 good running cars that you could sell cash. Why don't you give me that 65 Mustang and I'll go ahead and restore it. And so I'll trade them 2 cars for 1 project car. And so as you start to build your network, you're going to start thinking and getting more creative ways to either buy cars, sell cars, fix cars, whatever else. And that's how you build your, basically your business. Now, one of the things, once we get into the actual repair side, like I said, you're going to need multiple mobile mechanics. This way that you can educate yourself with the repairs, start learning familiarity and getting familiar with these cars, because we talked about it before where I don't buy certain cars. Like any Chrysler with a 7 at the end of it, whether it's a 2.7, 3.7, 4.7, 5.7, I don't buy them because those things are junk. BMW transmissions, they have different issues with solenoids. If you know those differences, you can buy the solenoids if it's a bad thing. Volvos, not a lot of aftermarket parts. Subarus, head gaskets, parts are more expensive than a Lexus and a Mercedes, don't even mess with it. So there's a handful of cars that you could buy that you could flip over, but you want to make sure that you kind of find your niche, something that you're very familiar with. You know, because I see a lot of people, they'll see a cheap E-Class Mercedes and they'll buy it, and then they find out that the air struts are $1,100 each one, and they freak out because they didn't know any better. So as you start to build in your car flipping journey, you want to make sure that you kind of keep a notebook. You keep a catalog of the cars that you sold, fixed, common problems, and definitely sit down and buy your mechanic a beer and take them to dinner and say, hey, what are the most common problems you see on these particular cars? And do this with like several mechanics, because they're all going to have different experiences. Like I make jokes all the time about Range Rovers. They are absolute junk. You couldn't give me one, you know, and I get them all the time through my ads. Hey, I got this '08 Range Rover. Nope, you can keep it. Well, I only want 1,000, 2,000. Nope, you can keep it. I don't even want to mess with it. The only reason I bought that one on my channel for $600 is because it was $600. And we still had to spend a couple $100 just to get that thing running. And we were fortunate. That's why I don't want to fix it up too nicely. I just wanted to get rid of it because they are just nightmares. The electrical problems, everything feels like it's $1,000. Whether you break a fuel pump or you have an alternator go out, everything feels like it's $1,000 in that car. So when you first start out and you don't have a shop, your budget is your key, and you don't want to burn these things up because of the inexperience. So talk to your mechanics, ask them what do they look on, what do they like. If your mechanic says, hey man, I love Ford Fusions or I love Honda Civics, they're easy for me to work on, start buying those, because now you know that your mechanic is extremely familiar with them and you could push those cars out even faster. Then you can ask them, well, what kind of repairs do you do? Oh yeah, well the head gasket, it takes me about 6 hours. I'll charge you $400, but you know, they're always blowing up head gaskets. So now you know, take that knowledge and you can literally buy every single one with a blown up head gasket in your area. If the guy's familiar with transmissions, if he knows Ford Focuses, everybody knows those CVT transmissions suck. You know, if he knows how to swap them out or fix them or even adjust the clutch plates where you can actually drive, or not clutch plates, CVT band, you know, he could do that. But that's part of the thing is as you get to know this knowledge, you'll start getting more and more money and your network will speed up. And it's called the speed of money. Every dollar you put in should be burnt out within less than 2 weeks, where you're buying a car, fixing it, and then selling it, and then moving on to the next few. And once you kind of build your network and you got your flow of cash going, it'll move much, much quicker. So, but anyways, I don't want to make this video too long, but I just wanted to go over this. This is some of the stuff that we do to actually build our network, so this way we can get cars coming to us. Because right now I get a lot of calls and a lot of messages like, where do you find these cars? I've been looking all over Facebook Marketplace and OfferUp. Just remember, if you can look at it, so can 20,000 other idiots that are going to be banging on those doors. You know, what do you want, $2,000 for that car? I'll give you $1,000. There's all those people out there. Every time I post a car, if you watch my Instagram, I do that all the time. I'll sell something for $5,000 and they'll offer me $2,000. Don't be that guy. Work for your money. Don't just lowball everybody. I hate those people. Those ones that drive me nuts. You got to go where people are not looking. And most people are absolutely lazy. They will not go door knocking. They will not drive around neighborhoods. I literally sometimes will go through a neighborhood and see a car on the side of the road and put my card in the car and knock on their door. Hey folks, I see you have this old Toyota Corolla sitting here. Would you guys like to sell it? I'm looking for a fun little project. you'd be surprised. And all you gotta do is be friendly, keep cash in your pocket. Don't ever go knocking on a door without money in your pocket. I've made that mistake. Don't be that guy, because if somebody says, yeah, just give me $2,000, you can take it. You go to the bank, you come back, oh, I thought about it, I changed my mind. Yeah, don't do that. Like I said, start off with the ads, build your network, start door knocking, and I promise you, once this funnel of leads starts coming in, it's just a self-perpetuating system that keeps going on. And a lot of your dealers that you sell cars to, you tell them what you're interested in. So if you have a really good mechanic, you could say, hey, look, guys, if you get any Ford Fusions, send them my way. And then if I get any Toyota Priuses, I'll send them your way. And you just build your network like that, where you're getting that flow of cars. Anyways, once again, I want to thank you guys so much. If you've learned anything, please gently squeeze the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Also, please consider subscribing. And follow us on Instagram at automotive.life. And once again, if you want to qualify for the consulting call giveaway, all you have to do is put a comment section below in this video or my car reveal video, which is coming out Friday, and you qualify for it. Well, anyways, I hope you guys have an amazing day and a great week, and we'll see you on Friday.